What's up, everybody, and welcome back to this series of the John Bush Show. And this series is entitled End Racism. That's what we're going to title it, the End Racism series, okay? I've experienced racism myself. I bet some of you watching this have as well. It's not fun. So let's get straight into it. White folks and black folks being together, communicating, working together, America's had the biggest economy for hundreds of years. We developed the aircraft here. Any white creation has to be credited to black people. Any black creation in America has to be credited to white people because the foundation of the country was built off black folks laboring through slavery and white folks handing out the work assignments. It was a forced situation, but the two together, black folks and white, it produced the best. You know how many people I've met that can watch 90 Day Fiance? People beg to come to America till this day, even though things are crazy. People are begging to come to America to get out of their situations and circumstances. America has potential to be amazing. When black people and white people come together, and first we got to stop looking at it as black and white. Those honestly are colors. When people of European descent, from Italy, France, Ireland, people from African descent, people from Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, when they come together, you get Barack Obama. When they come together, you get the France team winning the World Cup by a landslide. Because what? It was European training. Europe has the best training, especially France. And then you have the black players. You mix those two up, France destroyed everybody. When black and white folks come together, magic can happen. So we have to realize exactly what this is. This is not black people versus white people anymore. It was that in slavery, but it's not that anymore. This is black and white people together fighting the spirit of hate and racism. That's what this is now. Because white folks cannot hate black folks, of course, is why we're doing all this, but also black folks cannot hate white folks. You gotta drive hate out with love. That's the only way to do this. Because what are we doing? This is protesting racial injustices, but especially because of George Floyd. George Floyd did not hate white people, okay? George Floyd had a white fiance. I was shocked myself. He had a white fiance. Okay, this is us. This is all ethnicities against the spirit of hate and racism. That's what this is about. Because I can talk from experience. Going through all this craziness, growing up, experiencing racism. And the racism I experienced I didn't experience that much, to be honest with you. But one time is more than enough. But throughout my time in America as a black man, I started to dislike white people, but especially white men, because I saw white men with money that I was hanging out with. They can do whatever the hell they want. Trust me when I say it. They have privileges. They have more privilege than white women. I've seen it, and so I started to envy that. I was like, dang, why don't I get that? Why can't I just go around with a hoodie on, do whatever the hell I want? I was scared to wear a hoodie after Trayvon Martin, but I had to learn to let that anger go towards certain groups of people. Because if I don't, I'm no better than they are. So I had to let that go. And once I let that go, the first business I started, black folks wouldn't invest in us. Because, we're young black boys. They probably just didn't trust us. But a random white man did. A random white man invested into my business. And I was like, wow, if I was really hating white people, I wouldn't even have a business today. Half of the John Bush Show, I learned from talking to white people, watching white people on TV. Jane Elliott, Tim Wise, Adam Conover, these white folks, these shows, I learned so much from white people. I have a ton of international friends that are from Russia, Kazakhstan, China, different places around the world. And that is kind of what created the John Bush Show. See, this is a message that you can miss your calling if you end up hating a group of people. And even deeper than that, you can miss your purpose in life if you try to put your purpose in a box and say it has to be this way. I have to start this type of business, not that type of business. I have to date this type of person, not this type of person. You can miss out on your purpose in life. Because I never thought I would have had a white man invest into my business ideas. So there are some amazing white people out here, and that's why we have to, speaking of black people, we have to work with them. Because the white folks that are racist, that's getting smaller and smaller until they're the minority. They're such a minority that even white folks are looking at them crazy. That's how we have to handle this. This is a together thing. You cannot put God in a box. He might have you starting stuff that you would never think possible, and it's not what you think. You might end up being black, hanging out with friends from different countries. Don't put stuff in a box. It's not going to work out for you. Think about it. Hip hop came out of pain, poverty, trauma. Hip hop is the #1 music and culture in the world. I have friends from all over the world that were listening to hip hop before they knew English. Okay, that was birthed out of indirectly white folks and black folks being together. It was a messed up, impoverished situation, but hip hop was born from it. Hip hop was born from segregation, poverty, drug dealing, crack epidemic. Hip hop was born out of that. And now look at it, such a bad thing as redlining and segregation, hip hop came from it. And it's touched people all over the world. It's made millionaires. So many black men have become millionaires out of hip hop. It's a beautiful thing. That's why I think God can take something that was meant for bad and turn it into good. Okay? America is greater than racism. America is better than what's going on right now. All 50 states have come together from all ethnicities to protest against hate and racism. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. We got to keep it going. And we got to understand, if we don't deal with the history and knowing how things were formed, where people came from, the education is what's going to drive this ignorance out, is education and communication. Black folks and white folks, we got to talk. Hispanic folks too. You got to put it in the curriculum that different ethnic groups have to communicate and talk to each other. It should be mandatory in school. You cannot grow up in America. There's over 40 million black people here. There's over 100 million white people here. You cannot grow up in your little white neighborhood or your little black neighborhood and never talk to anyone that doesn't look like you. Never talk to anyone different. 80% of my ideas comes from talking to people that are different than me. 20% comes from black people. Okay, I grew up black. It's already there in me. So now you add the different opinions, international friends. That's what comes with these videos. You got to have people that you converse with of different cultures and different ethnicities. So that's all I have today. We can drive this out through education. We can drive this out through teaching about the Grimaldi people, teaching about the history and creation of America, forcing us as a nation to have people that are in white privileged neighborhoods, force them to talk and communicate to black people and people that are in this country that don't look like them. You have to force it. At least the communication, you gotta force it. Put it in the curriculum. That's all I have for today, y'all. Let's make this happen.